foreign to the people in your tribe? And explain a little bit about the kind of counseling that you do, and then the kind of counseling that took place with your people.
Well, we live in very huge extended families with aunts and uncles and grandparents, and so, when I was little, if I was hurting, I would go to Grandma, and she would make it better. If you want to learn something, then you go see Grandpa, he's going to show you how to do most stuff. But Grandma always made it feel better. And the stories of people oftentimes have those solutions for emotions. And there are certain people who I call woo people, the healer people, and they have the ability to take a little through a ritual and prayer. And Barbara, you know that I look at people as body, mind, and spirit, and all of that is existing at the same time at any given place or divinity. So it was the healing process for the physical healing whether it's similar to the process for the emotional healing. Now, because the people are so fragmented, we have traditional people in all settings of Native culture. There are those people who try as much as possible for the traditional way, although there is no intact tradition among any Aboriginal people in the world today. It's all been taken by contact with it. And then there are what I call the council chiefs. There are the progressives who live accepting tribal council recommendations, and are trying to sit on this fence between the white world. And then there are the acculturated individuals. When you move away from your culture, then there is loss. Then there is emotional pain. And when you are an urbanized Indian away from what you, I feel, genetically knows first, then there is great pain. And we need somehow to almost get back to a knowingness and synchronicity with the cultural roots, part of that, collective cultures. And so now we use modern techniques of healing for our own people who are suffering these tragic and deeper than life losses, which have come through the I don't know, the political ones, I was going to say, through the attempts to break culture, those losses, basically. And there are so many contributing factors to the pain of it. Indian schools, the forced adoption, sequestering what you would call the first midnight phone confrontation. There are so many factors that have gone to create immense pain, and we use whatever avenue we want.
Are there some difficulties you have with it as a counselor and as a Native American? Are there agencies that are difficult for you to work with, or are there certain types of people that it's difficult for you to work with?
Well, yes, agency-wise, no, I really don't have too much difficulty. People get used to being different, and sometimes that really works on behalf of who I speak for, who I am being active for at any time. With clients, yes, there are people that I am unable to work with because of their own frame of reference, and that's okay. If a therapist bond can't believe, then what's the point? walk into this room reflects who I am and reflects the kind of work that I've done here. So I've had people come in and look at my beautiful Sioux Star Pendleton blanket and say, think that that was a pentagram and think I was a Satanist or something of that nature, when in fact this is the community love symbol, the Sioux Star community love and service, and was given to me in a very dear way and means incredible things to me. I often, I wear jewelry that has stars on it as a symbol of the people, and sometimes people take that as being other than it is. And so those people then have a preconceived notion of me. And of course there are people who are very prejudiced against Aboriginal people. And we wouldn't do well together, so they need to go to someone who can help them.
Does that ever make you feel like they don't like you, or did you ever take that
Well, dear, it has
personally?
nothing to do with me. Really.
And that
Because it doesn't have anything to do with me. That's where that person is at. And I can't meet them. It makes me sad. And it is, I grieve over those things. But when you grow up being called a red nigger, then you know that those people don't like you very well. And so you don't interact with them.
Anyone as a counselor, though, will find people sitting across from them that the match just isn't there.
Well, I won't work with borderline people who have borderline personality disorder. I don't have the time and energy to do that well. And so I send them along. One of my boundaries.
That's a good way to have. Well, do you want to show us your play?
Oh, by all means, come into the fantasy part.
You don't have to have it on.
Okay. Please, Sam.
It's on, Mom.
So
Okay.
please come in. This is where we do sand tray work.
Oops. This is fun, right?
And in each of the rooms here, we have both wet and dry sand trays, and this is a part of a collection of sand tray figures.
And this is Samantha.
And the dollhouse, which was well used this morning.
Do you use, in play therapy, during one session, do you perhaps use the dollhouse and sand tray? Or do you usually stick with one thing through each session?
When we work in the sand tray, it's only, that session is sand tray only. It's very intensive, and there's not time within that 50-minute hour to do anything else, because it's the creating of the tray and the telling of the story and the work around the story that's in the tray. The dollhouse is in here because, as you will see, we're out of room in the rest of our space. But if my sand tray work is Jungian based on Dora Kalk's work, if you were to do the world mosaic work, then you probably would have a dollhouse in the room with the big freestanding table tray.
So do you tell a story and draw in the sand, or does the...
I say, look at all these figures. I would like for you to make a scene in the sand, and then we're going to make a story about that. And then the children look around and pick things that have harmony with their own psychic stories, and make a scene in the sand, much like you would make under the Christmas tree. And then we tell a story about that. They tell me their story. I record their story, as well as photograph their sand tray work. And then often we can make a movement by the metaphor that's in the tray. what kind of place is this? How could it be different? Which figure would you like to be? Which figure wouldn't you like to be? And why is that? And how could we change that? So it's very intense work.
I bet you have a lot of fun answers too, though. I mean, do you laugh a lot when you are doing?
Humor is always important. It's kind of part of the human's self-built, no, that's the wrong word, wait a minute, coping mechanism to use humor for our own healing. And so sometimes there is humor, but usually that's very serious and often painful.
Mm.
So come.
Okay.
This is the big playroom. And we have games and puzzles and those kinds of things here. And then we have housekeeping things and, oh, ratty. A trunk and boxes of dress-up things. Our tension bar was taken down for a little bit refurbishing.
I love this building too, with the
Well,
bricks.
you know,
and
we were very lucky. It lends itself to what we do. We have Barbie dolls, and in our dress-up things, we have boys and girls dress-up things and makeup and jewelry and high heels and whatever you need. And the Lego. Once in a while, I bring my 8-year-old with me, and he thinks Mom has the best Lego collection in the universe.
I know my kids just can play Legos for a long time.
And we keep the puppets in here, which I'm working on turning Mr. Ratty inside out here. But we have a tension bar that goes across this doorway. So we have puppet theater, or we sometimes do dramatic productions here. My little girls group does like to put on plays. I think, let's see, not only do we have creative art things here, but we also have craft items. And the latent age boys do like to work on models, and that's very good for their competency skills and also frees their mind to allow us to talk about things. It might look a little bare in here, but I took the art down before you came because of confidentiality.
And so you use, sometimes with a client you might use the art therapy, other times you might be in sand tray, and another times perhaps with dress-up clothes with the same client, or do you stick with one method really?
I believe in non-directive play therapy. Children know what they need to do. They're much better at it than we adults are, and they will choose whatever materials they need for the metaphor of their own work. If I direct them, then it becomes my work.
Mm-hmm.
I might limit what's available to them. For example, some children who are very disturbed wouldn't do well to work in clay. So if they wanted to work in clay, I might say to them, well, let's try the Play-Doh today, or let's do the theme mold today, and save the real clay for another day, because it's so loose and tends to get people very disturbed and out of control if they already come in with a difficulty.
That's, you have to be so perceptive, I guess, as to what works with
The
people.
children will direct you. They're very clear. Very clear indeed.
Well, you mentioned sometimes that there are certain types of people that just don't connect with you in counseling. Do you find that with children too?
No.
Or it's usually with parents?
The parents, children and I get along wonderfully, generally from the first session. It's the parents who sometimes have difficulty because of their own unwillingness to look at their complicity in the problems of their children, or unwillingness to take a direction that's different from what they feel comfortable with. They may have difficulty with the whole arena of play therapy. I have a lovely story about a child that I saw who he came to me at 7, this little guy, and he was anxiety ridden and had this little squeaky voice, and he was hanging behind Dad, who was a big hulking guy. Well, when he was 2, Mom and Dad had gotten divorced because Mom was abusing drugs, and she took him away. He didn't see Dad for 5 years. And he came back to Dad because one morning, when he was on his way to kindergarten, out the front gate, the federal marshals came and arrested Mom at gunpoint, shackled her, and she was taken off in a police car. And of course, they didn't know about this little boy because he was out the door already. So he went to Grandma, and Grandma connected with Dad, and Dad immediately brought him to see me. And they would come every week from Jackson down here. And this guy and I every week would do 2 things. We would either play checkers, or he would play with the big basket of knights, and he would do these wonderful battles in the sand tray, or he would do them in water or in blocks, and continually doing this. And as an aside, he had no memory. He couldn't articulate what had happened to him those 5 years when he was with Mom. Well, this went on for about 6 months, and it was on December 29th. This is so clear to me. I got a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning. It was Dad. Well, he's had a nightmare, and this is what happened, and I don't know what to do. And so I comforted Dad and had him to comfort a little boy. And that day, he had comfort therapy, and for the first time introduced into this huge battle a female figure, this little princess who was thrown off the parapet of the castle, and this wonderful knight came and saved her just in the nick of time. What a hero he was. And that night, this child had his first real night terror that he could describe. And he said it was like I was back in my room at Mom's, and I could see my dresser, and I knew the door was locked, and I could hear Mom screaming on the other side, and I couldn't get to her, and someone was hurting her, and I couldn't save her, and on and on and on about this terrible, heart-wrenching story. And that day, you see in therapy, you see what he had done.
He rescued
He was able to rescue that little princess. And then when he came next week to see me, Dad said, you know, Alex, I was driving home this long drive. I was thinking, I am paying this woman $85 an hour to play checkers with my child. And he said, now I see what you meant. I understand. And now I feel good about it. So parents don't understand about play therapy as a foreign language to them. To them, play is play. And you and I both know play is the language that children express themselves through. It's like learning a foreign language to learn to be a therapist. And it's not something you read from a book, although books are really helpful. It's a traditional skill. And just like you learn to be a storyteller by working with a storyteller, you learn about play therapy by working with play therapists. It's the best way to do it. The metaphor of play is the most exquisitely expressive form of language we have, because it is clear and not open to misinterpretation once you understand the language.
When you became a counselor, did you become a counselor first and then a play therapist? I mean, was it that progression, or did you just know that you wanted to be a play therapist? Or what was inside you that made you want to pursue this as
little child who loves to play. Well, you know, I started as a Head Start teacher, and how many, 35 years ago I was a Head Start teacher, and worked with children in play to help them to learn academic things. And it became clearer and clearer to me that this is the language of everything for children. And so it would be wise for me to learn that language, or relearn that language, so that I could help children learn to grow into a whole person. That's what play therapy is for me. I guess I always knew that that's what I would do eventually. And because my family are healers, it just seemed like this is, you know, I'm doing what I've always done. after I jumped through all the hoops that the society says you have to have the right letters after your name to do it legally or authoritatively. I like the word authoritatively.
Well, I'm going to come in here and see what Samantha's chosen to pick up and explore. That looks really interesting.
This is called Snake Dance, and then it's just a game that we would have with for your own children. And it has a battery in it, and Samantha, turn it on so they can see that. And you have to take these little forks and lift the jewels off the turning snakes. It's a skill that takes some good eye-hand coordination. Whoops, something is caught. Let's see. Okay, now. I like it because I can manipulate who wins. And it's disheartening because, of course, my motor skills are better than a 5-year-old's motor skills, that I would probably win every time. But I can manipulate how well I do with this. This is a game that builds competency skills. Children can be encouraged, problem solving, self-esteem building, and so it's one tool for many uses. I have some commercially prepared therapeutic games, but I like to find games that are available that children can make a relationship with outside the therapeutic setting, ones that they might know and feel comfortable with outside the therapeutic setting, and then adapt their use to our own purposes here.
Do you have adults that you use play therapy and sand tray on?
I use sand tray with almost all the adults I work with. My own therapist works in the sand tray. That's useful for me because I'm too clever for talk therapy. I can dance around the issue with the best of them. But the sand tray doesn't lie.
I guess maybe I should remember that. Well, Alex, I've really learned a lot about play therapy and about some of the different things in counseling. And I know you have a lot to do today, but I just appreciate you so much spending your time with me so I can get this interview.
Well, I'm happy to do it with you, Barbara, anytime.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
What is it, Burro? There's Zipper. Hi, Zipper. Big horse. That's Dad's horse. And there's Burro. Say something, Burro. Dad's horse has something to say. And there's my Bowie. Hi, Bowie. Hi, Bowie. Hi, boy. Time for you guys to be fed? Huh? Daddy's gonna tell him what to do. Yeah, she's gonna take on that great big horse. Boy, Dusty, you're brave. You're brave, and there's Bailey. And who's that? There's Lucy. She's gonna scratch her head. She's trouble. Where's Moo? Hey, boy! Boy! Burro! I've got to catch you doing your hee-haw another time, huh? Don't be mean. Guys want fed, huh? Aw, poor little Burro. Okay. Go in and say hi to him. Hi, boy. Here it is, time to get up. And Robbie has crawled back in Mom and Dad's bed. And this dog, who are you? Who are you? Huh? What you doing in our bed? Yeah! This dog took up all the room. Thank you. Oh, I was hoping maybe you'd make a noise. And down here we have commotion.
For who?
Tug of war between Mooey and Bailey. You guys should play that outside.
Moo and Beagle Eyes.
Moo won.
Of course. And there's Daddy. Mom, there's Daddy. Daddy.
Sam's cat Bessie was in here. But I think she's hiding now. Good morning, Sam. What do you have to say this morning?
Get that thing out of my face.
Okay. And in here, who do we have?
No.
What do you have to say this morning? Anything?
I don't know.
How many days until the Bulls game?
Two.
2 days? Wow. Pretty exciting.
What? What?
Wait. What's happening under those covers? Why, it is... It's a headstand! Right up in bed, first thing. Is that how you always wake up? Bonk. That's pretty good. Tommy can stand on his head in his bed better than anyone in his whole school. Way to go, Tommy! Way to go!
Stand on his head in the bed when he's dead.
You're a funny one, all right.
Timber.
Good morning, Daddy. What are you doing, Daddy? Gonna go out and bark at those horses? What was that? Here it is morning. And I'm hoping maybe I can get a response from the burro. There's Dad's horse. Burro! I heard him. Boy! There's my boy. There's my boy. Good morning. Hi, Bobo. What? What? These dogs? Oh, Daddy. That wasn't very nice. Bailey, do you like kitties, Bill? Yeah? And there's Moo. There's good old Moo. There's good old Moo. Uh-oh. What's happening out here? Here's another kitty up on the roof. That's Sam's kitty, Weezer.